Bola Ahmed Tinubu has declared that Nigeria is out of the woods, emerging from what he described as a dark tunnel of uncertainty. Now, speaking on recent economic progress, the president expressed gratitude for what he called strong commitment and visible reforms. But what does this mean in practical terms? Second, we'll be talking about authorities in United Arab Emirates, particularly in Dubai. They have reinforced strict penalties against begging. Anyone caught begging faces up to 3 months in jail and a fine of AED 5,000 naira, roughly 1.8 million. Now, third, the Benue state government has requested federal approval to establish a disarmament, demobilization and reintegration DDR Center for Repentant Bandits. However, this proposal raises emotional and ethical questions. Some residents may ask, why rehabilitate attackers instead of prosecuting them? Is this a pathway to peace or a risky compromise? Now, these stories are what we will be treating this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to ACD Hot right here on Active Citizens. My name is Ifoma Oji, and joining me in the studio, I have Genevieve Okeke. Good afternoon. How are you doing, Pretty?
Good afternoon. I'm fine.
How was your weekend?
I'm fine.
I mean, it's the first time we're having you for the week.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Same. We are glad to have you. Now, I equally have Sharon Enenchukwu, my co-host, joining in the conversation. Good afternoon, Sharon. How are you doing this afternoon?
Well, thank you.
Look cool.
And so do you.
All right. So, thank you. So, we're starting off with the first story, which is the president's pronouncement, which he spoke at a recent economic progress. He said that Nigeria, should I say, is kind of stable at this point, that the development are now working in Nigeria. I would love us to take a look at the video, and when we'll come back, we have more discussion on the topic. Let's take a look.
I'm very, very grateful because we've seen progress. We've seen commitment to duty. But please, I appeal again, let's go further to embrace the downtrodden, the young ones, and all the supporters. Be all encompassing, and let's spread the development opportunity across to the grassroots. The local government and your efforts have seen a lot of progress being made in the states.
Now, the video we just saw is the president appreciating Nigerians for the development so far. And since assuming office, we've seen the president remove subsidy, we've seen floating of naira, we've seen a lot in Nigeria. Should I talk about insecurity? And this is the president coming out to say that, I remember when he came out earlier to say that those reforms is going to be more like short-term pain for long-time stability and progress, and he has come out now to still reinforce what he said before, and this has garnered a lot of reactions both on social media and outside social media, because we're having the conversation here. Nigerians are saying that he's kind of disconnected from the way or the pains that Nigerians are going through. But it's not just me that will be having this conversation today in the studio. I will have your take, Sharon, on this. I'll start with you, Sharon. What's your take on the topic?
The last time we talked about the president's address, someone said, oh, this is because it was an international meeting and he wanted to paint Nigeria in a particular light as the president of the country, which is expected of him. But now this is local, right? This was during the breakfast he hosted in the Abuja State House for Ramadan, and these are governors in the room, and he was addressing them and talking about about economic stability and how we are out of the woods and how we are now seeing progress in our economy relatively. And now this is my question: at what point do we tell ourselves the truth? When we're outside the shores of Nigeria, we don't say the truth. When we're still with our locals, we still don't say the truth. Is this really a situation of trying to patch Nigeria's image, or is this what the current presidency really believes, that Nigeria's economy is out of the woods, that Nigeria economy is starting to see the light of day? And I think for me, I just wish for a government that is more in tune with the pains of the people, that is more, that feels more the predicament that the people are feeling or are in right now, rather than a few reports here and there, or from what they are getting from their aides or whatever, people that you know are doing better because they're around the presidency and they get obviously paid higher and all. So this is not the reality of an average Nigerian. Many people, there are cost of things in the market that years ago I never knew they would get to that point. I never knew that gala can go from 50 naira to 200 naira or 500 naira currently. There are just some prices that are really ridiculous. No matter how little, when you add up all these things, it is something. So it is not the reality of the average Nigerian, and I would really appreciate that we are more in tune with what is going on really outside.
I think you just nailed it on the head. I mean, if we go outside the borders, we can actually try to promote the image of Nigeria, but when we come back to the locals, we need to tell ourselves the truth. You talk about removing fuel subsidy. Have you really removed fuel subsidy? Are Nigerians feeling that? I mean, this is a short-term pain that could actually develop Nigeria. This is how many years that the president have been in position of power, and yet Nigerians are feeling like Nigerians are choking. But I mean, let me just have your take on this.
I know, it's quite it's a blasphemy for the president to come out and say that Nigeria is heading to the right direction, because I would start with I think I would call it the most trending, long existing issue, aside insecurity. I'm going to start with electricity. For how long has Nigeria been a country that lacks electricity? I mean, for the full the period of Mr. President being the president, we've heard the national grid fall like God knows how many times, and you're coming to tell the world, you're coming to tell nationally, let's say it's not international, okay, we want to cover face, but you're coming to tell people that Nigeria is getting to a better place. The young people that he's saying we should incorporate and all that, many of them cannot survive in Nigeria. An average tech student, let me use tech, cannot survive in Nigeria because there is no constant electricity, there is bad network. So those minimal things, it's quite insulting to us as Nigerians that you come to tell us what we know we are experiencing every day. Just like Sharon said, the cost of feeding, cost of things, expenses. Many a times, some places, when you go to some places, it might be more outrageous, but it's because when you talk about transportation, for those people that sell in a particular state different from another state, when they talk about their transportation, it's very expensive. It's not even like it's half of what they bought, so there's no profit for them. How do you expect them to make money? That's why they'll triple it. When you go to this state, you're hearing a different price. This is all the things, and somebody is coming out to say Nigeria is great. It's actually a big insult to our face.
You know, I'm just going to say this, talking about optimism, because what I'm seeing is the president trying to sound optimistic to an extent, but it's how you sound so optimistic and then Nigerians feel pessimistic, is how you sound like you're giving Nigerians the reassurance or the assurance that you're going to maybe tackle insecurity, because he made commitments to tackling insecurity, but we've seen different attacks in different states that is unaddressed up to date. And talking about the cost of living in Nigeria, I sometimes I do ask normal Nigerians, average Nigerians, how do you really survive?
No longer
people that are living under the minimum wage of 70,000 naira. What can 70,000 naira actually afford for you at this point in time? It can just take you, let's say, roughly a week, 2 weeks. You cannot. The president that is even coming to say that there is development, he's to a very large extent comfortable. I would say he is comfortable, so he can't even feel the brunt or the pain Nigerians are feeling, because when you are being paid 70,000 naira and he's not even able to take you up to 2 weeks or up to a week, you start feeling the pain or the economy, the stress and everything. But still talking on this, as a Nigerian, I just want you to talk as a Nigerian, because you've talked about our image, promotion of our image outside Nigeria, and talking about our image in the locals in Nigeria. Let's talk about Nigerians that he is declaring this commitment to now, or saying that Nigerians have developed. How do you think Nigerians will perceive this?
Right. At this point, I think it is already normal for you to wake up and hear different things. So you hear things like, among Nigerians, where they're talking, we know these things, right? If they're coming out to tell us that what we're seeing here is color black and we know it's color white, we already know. So I don't even think it's going to be surprising. I think it was in the beginning where the president will come out and say something like, oh, how can the president say something like that when he knows this is happening? But at this point, it's already normal. I've heard other things about the GDP doing so well. I've heard different things about inflation being stabilized. I've heard Nigeria moving from number one to the other number in what, like, it's just a whole lot, right? Yes. So it's a whole lot. So I don't think, apart from the fact that for the patriotic Nigerian, it is going to fuel them more to do better with their votes in 2027. That's one. That's where I think this might affect them. I don't think it's going to be a surprise. Now, for the unpatriotic Nigerian who has given up at this point, it's going to be, people should just do what you want to do, say what you want to say. I don't even care at this point. So there are two different sets of people that will take this message differently.
Okay, let's talk about unpatriotic Nigerians now, because Sharon have said that it's now normal. We have normalized this whole declaration. It always ends in the headlines. For unpatriotic Nigerians that are already jaded with the entire thing, what word of advice do you give to them?
To be honest, I don't have any word of advice. There is no word of advice. I mean, we have been giving word of advice. Let's be factual. We have been giving word of advice God knows how long. And what is the essence? What is the juice? Where is it leading us to? Nigerians are tired. Almost half of Nigeria is,
can even see the tiredness from your
tone. You guys are already tired. We're tired. Every day you wake up on social media and you see, and what is painful is that the things that are supposed to be prioritized, you don't get to see press conference like this. You don't get to see a small gathering to address the issue. No, it is things that are irrelevant, things that will fuel up Nigerians' anger. That is what you would keep saying. But what I can say to unpatriotic and patriotic Nigerians is, don't lose hope in a way.
It's your official expression for it.
And then also just make sure you keep yourself safe, so that if we get the better Nigeria we are looking for, I think we'll be able to see it happen, because I believe most Nigerians want to be alive to actually see if there will be a better Nigeria. So just stay safe, do the best you can, and just keep pushing, because at this point they have the balls is in their hand.
God, I can feel the energy. Like, you guys are so exhausted with this whole, talks, promises and disappointments. But I'm just going to say this to Nigerians. I think it's your vote now that will speak for you. We have come out to clamor. We have come out to complain. We have protested. We have agitated. But some people will say that your vote will not count. But I think it's left for Nigerians to decide if their vote would definitely count. Because if you're checking the comment section, Nigerians will tell you that what they are looking forward to right now is revolution and nothing more. And Nigerians have had it up to here. You know, there's an extent you push and push and push someone, and you push them to the wall. They are ready to do anything. A lot of people are ready to die for anything. And I'm just going to say this: we live today to tell the story of tomorrow. So in as much as a lot of Nigerians are moving towards that mindset of revolution, Nigerians should still remember that even if we know that a lot of bloodshed or a lot of people will have to, you know, die for Nigerians to refurbish or reform, but we still need to try as much as possible to stay alive, not just for ourselves but for our loved ones, and see how change can come tomorrow. But that does not mean that we will not fight for the change that we clamor for. But let's move over to the next story, which is the authorities in the United Arab Emirates have actually banned any form of begging in UAE, and if you're caught begging in UAE, you will pay a fine of AED, that is their dirham, 5,000 naira, which is roughly around 1.8 million naira. And this is kind of a way to curb the entire begging poverty in Nigeria. I'll just see it as an attempt to prosper the country, to push people into working hard to deliver themselves from poverty, because some people just want to remain in that, you know, begging stage in their lives. But I think this has raised a lot of eyebrows, especially in Nigeria, because across all the streets you see in Nigerians, you see a lot of people begging. Nigerians live in abject poverty because of poverty, because of unemployment, and a lot of people that are displaced from insecurity and the rest. So a lot of people are saying that Nigerians left the group chat when you talk about something, you know, like this. But let's have a talk, let's have a conversation on this particular topic. Do you think that if they erase any form of begging in Nigeria, it will not criminalize crime? It will not criminalize poverty. Rather, it's going to, should I say, maybe lead to something more positive.
If a country like Dubai comes out to say they're banning begging and giving a fine for beggars, that is understandable, because it's a working country. You have employment, they have a government that functions, we see development, we see them generating revenue through different means, oil, we see them generating revenue through tourism. We see how Dubai is. It is literally the go-to destination spot these days. So if they're coming out to ban begging, it makes perfect sense really to me. And I also think, you know, when you compare that to Nigeria, I would say for Nigeria, they always try to imitate others without fully imitating them. This is what they were trying to do last year when they were taking beggars off the streets in Abuja, in Lagos. We even took the story, you were a bit emotional about it. Where would they go to and all of that? But the thing is, if you are going to do that, be a working country first, in my opinion. When you go to Dubai, there are jobs there, right? It's easier for you to go to school and get jobs when you have the qualifications that you're supposed to, which doesn't apply here. The insecurity is everywhere, but not as rampant as it is in Nigeria. In Dubai, in my own opinion, you don't hear of bandits killing, kidnapping, asking for ransom here and there. So you have that environment, you have constant electricity, and even though they struggle with water, they have somehow found a way to maneuver over that and provide water. So these are the things that I see, and I'm okay, these people are a working country, they have the roads, the connection of roads, electricity 24/7 and all that, right? But Nigeria coming out to say they want to scrap begging, I understand that, right? But do we have constant electricity? Do we have job provisions for people? Do we have basic amenities? Do we have good health care for people? So that is why I think if they do that, it is them going to, like you said, criminalize poverty and just increase social vices in the society. by maybe times 10, right? Because they have not put in the foundation. The foundation is already so shaky. We don't have good government. We don't have, in fact, the three arms of government have somehow, we don't even know how it happened, just been merged into one, so it can't even function. We don't have anybody checkmating the other person. So what we have to do right now is to fix the foundation. The foundation of this country is so shaky. There's so much that is already wrong, or so much that we need to work on before we can. Now all this banning, begging, these are just surface level. It's not really how you solve poverty. It's not how you do your poverty elevation schemes. Let's start from our politicians keeping to their word and not squandering our money first, then we'll have a conversation.
I think that's well said. Thank you so much for that. Now coming to you, Genevieve. Now they said that if you want to donate money, that they have institutions where you can channel the money to registered institution that you can channel money if you want to give to the needy. So instead of encouraging street begging, channel this monies to charity and people that will take them. So I would love to have your take on that.
You can perfectly see they brought something. They brought an alternative. It's not alternative. They brought, let's say, a compensation. I remember when we took up a story, I think was it Enugu State or Abia? Okay, Enugu State. I think they want to create this what's it called, electronic bus that they will be using card to pay, and they were saying that all keke drivers will be abolished, no more keke drivers.
Some areas.
Exactly. So now they did not provide any provision for the keke drivers. How?
No, they did.
What was the
in some areas? Keke are meant to apply in some areas, but some areas will be scrapped off completely.
That's perfectly fine. But then again, you could see that what Dubai people are doing is actually nice. I mean, in a case whereby most times bringing it down to Nigeria, when you want to donate and do all these things, the money is not being checkmates. You donate money to an orphanage home. The owner of the orphanage home is using the money for themselves. You understand? But with what Dubai has done, it's nice because first of all, in as much as Dubai is actually very expensive to live in, but it is a place that is worth to live. It's a place that they have created a system whereby even if things are expensive, you can afford it. Every grade of personality, every grade of persons with their grade of financial status can afford to stay in Dubai, unlike Nigeria. So I don't think it's going to make sense if Nigerian government decide to bring this up, because it's even far from what we need. They should first tackle how many people will wake up one day and they are not in their houses. They should first tackle that. So kudos to the Dubai. You know, you can even imagine this is like the list of things. They just woke up and like, okay, let's see what we can add to the top of the chart. This
Nigeria really left the group chart.
They really left the group chart.
I'm telling you. You know, talking about this, I think I can agree with both of you that it's all about strengthening our institutions. Let's work on people that are displaced, because these people are pushed to this poverty. Some people are pushed to begging because of the fact that, number one, they don't have homes. Some people, if you go to Lagos, some people sleep under the bridge because they don't have a roof over their heads. Some people are displaced from their homes. Some people, their homes are demolished. So when you talk about things like this, it's kind of sounding should I say rare or bizarre to Nigerians, because they can't relate. Is it not when I feed, I'm able, I'm comfortable, I have security, that I can talk about scrapping poverty or people in the street? But I think this conversation will continue maybe in the comment section. But let's take our last story for the day. Now the Benue State government has requested the federal government approval to establish the disarmament and demobilization and reintegration of repentant bandits. So for bandits who have repented, there are over 400 of them that are willing to be rehabilitated. Now the government is now saying that they want to rehabilitate those people, and at the end of the rehabilitation that they are going to be given certificate upon completion. So Nigerians are now saying, why is it that you don't get to prosecute these people instead of arresting them, instead of making them feel the pain that they make others or the others have gone through? You're going ahead to grant amnesty to them. Sharon.
This country is a joke.
You have a state government like Benue State who comes out to say they want to rehabilitate bandits, but somehow we've been unable to rehabilitate our police force. How sure are we that they can actively manage to rehabilitate anyone? You've not rehabilitated force, the people in the force. You are rehabilitating terrorists. When you call these people bandits, it is, to me, it's not even the right word. Bandits is when you steal, right? When you take people's life, when you cause havoc, you burn people, you burn establishments, you burn property. My dear, you're not a bandit. You've graduated to being a terrorist. That is who you are. You are a threat to people's lives. You are a threat to an entire group, anywhere you enter, you're a threat. You're no longer a bandit. You are now a terrorist, and it is how we soft pedal on these issues that is really concerning. And you see this Benue State government, I don't know what the issue is, because it is still the same Benue State government that we saw the American missionary the other day who came out and said that he wanted to establish and build a market in Yelewata, and the Benue State government refused. And all of a sudden they provided him with a bill of 300 million for a market where you can't see such amount anywhere in Nigeria that they're using to start up a market, something that maybe 90 to 60 million will be able to cover. And the Benue State government came out and said he can't go ahead with it. It is still in the same Benue State government that they have over 3,000 IDPs, people in IDPs, because they have been taken away from their homes forcefully because of terrorism and the attacks, incessant attacks, right? Now, if you're willing, if you're so fast, so quick to help these bandits, and you have these IDPs who are suffering, living hand to mouth, and you have your people who are living hand to mouth, in my opinion, why not take that money, the resources you want to use in rehabilitating criminals, to rehabilitate victims? Why have the victims been forced to understand the plight of their terrorists, or to understand the plight of their oppressors? At this point, it seems as though this government is not on the, I'm not going to say much because this is very infuriating. It's as though the present administration or the present government is on the side of the oppressors and not on the side of the victims. And I think if you have sense, you can already tell that this is not supposed to be so. You're supposed to be commiserate and give your resources and stand solidly with people who have been affected. But this is the case that we have now.
I think the governor equally left the group chat. Genevieve, please briefly in a minute, let me have your take.
First of all, Nigeria is a joke, a big joke, a big disgrace of a country. You know, down from the government to the federal states to the federal level, they are all a scam and a joke. How the hell? I'm really trying to control myself because I don't understand. I can't wrap my head around it. How the hell will you say you want to rehabilitate criminals, terrorists, murderers? They are not criminals, they are murderers because they unalive people. You want to rehabilitate them, but you have not said anything about the victims, the people, the parents, the husband, the wife, the kids that lost their loved ones from killings. You haven't done anything, and you're coming out to act. And you know the stupid thing about this thing is that this government will pass a bill. They will actually agree to it because of it wasn't the last year that they said we will welcome the terrorists with open arms in the job. This does, and we still continue in 2026, and you're expecting Nigeria to be, somebody's coming out to say Nigeria is moving forward. Please, I would like to know how Nigeria is moving forward. This is sick. This is disgusting and sick. Someone lost their loved ones through terrorist attack, and they get up to go on the news and they'll be saying, oh, we are trying to rehabilitate this so number of terrorists. It doesn't make sense. It's arrant rubbish. Benue State government, you are wicked. This is wickedness. If you woke up to, oh, let me look for the agenda to submit to the federal government, and you woke up with this, you are wicked and evil. And any other government that is going through this, you guys are wicked. And I'm telling you, your judgment is more than what you can ever think of.
I tell you, I wish some people in Nigeria can actually be gods, because I mean, we will judge a lot and we ensure that we punish a lot of people that karma, meets people immediately you're committing the crime. But I think this is quite I'll just say foolishness and a downplay of the pains that the people in Benin are passing through. Where do I even start from? I guess we've even exhausted all this topic, the attacks, we've been infuriated, we have literally what haven't we explored, what haven't we said? And it's how the government is not even paying heed or hearkening to the voices of Nigerians or the voices of Benue citizens. Is quite sad. It's downplaying the pains. Those people that are currently in IB camp, according to Riley, moreover 600 of them are displaced in Benue State, and this is just Benue State. What about other states? And now the government of Benue State is proposing bills to welcome these people, these terrorists that has caused a lot of harm, a lot of agony and pain to people living in the state. I'm just going to leave it at this. Nigerians should just be wary of who they vote into power, because everything just boils down to institution and those people that will place in power. If you have people that have conscience, if you have people that have sympathy and empathy, maybe we'll not be having to tell this story every now and then on this table. But I think this is where we're going to leave it on Acid Hot right here on Active Citizens. Thank you so much, Sharon and Mtuku, and thank you, Genevieve, for joining me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now to our viewers, if you're joining for the first time, the show is Acid Hot right here on Active Citizens. If you're yet to subscribe, like and comment, the time is now. Do all those good stuff. We see you, we love you, we appreciate you. But we see you in the evening for more political updates and more maybe entertainment news. Do have a wonderful afternoon.